Hey guys, what's going on? It's me, Will Patterson, and welcome back to a new video. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can create this cool sort of social media widget that's interactive. You can scroll through it, get different pictures of the same person, and you can have multiple of them. It's a really easy thing to do, but the knowledge inside of this is something you need to know if you want to get good at XD, prototyping, and showing your clients a concept for them. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. You're probably wondering why I'm doing XD tutorials, because I've never actually done them before on the channel, but I have been using XD since it came out to sort of prototype either designs, websites, app ideas to clients through my sort of logo design branding business. The ability for a designer to create a prototype of a widget and then for a developer to go ahead and write the code and develop it all is huge. It allows the designer the freedom and all of his knowledge to be inside of the prototype whilst not having to learn everything about developing the app with the code. So the first thing we're going to do is going to go ahead and create a new artboard. Press A, and I'm going to go ahead and put the iPhone X or XS or 11 Pro. For anyone who doesn't know, this is an artboard. We're going to go to Unsplash and find a picture for the background. Unsplash is great for pictures and resources. I like this one over here, so I'm just going to go ahead and open this image in a new tab. We're going to go ahead, copy the image, and I'm going to paste it onto this artboard in here and just bring it down, put it onto the back of this artboard so we get a pretty good, nice scene. I'm going to press Command L, which will lock that layer, quite similar to any other app. And I'm going to press R to get to the rectangle tool. And we're going to create a box around this artboard again, but we're going to get rid of the border. We don't want a border. We also want to press this button down here called Blur Background or Background Blur. And this is going to help us create a cool background for this so it doesn't have any detail showing. We don't want it to blur too much, but just enough. And we want to probably bring the brightness down ever so slightly, in my thoughtful opinion, down here. There. So this is what we're left with. We're left with this cool blurry background, which is what we like. It's what a lot of UI is doing. A lot of companies such as Apple, especially Apple even, are putting blurs and using the translucent effects to create that modernized looking in the widgets and the way that a computer looks. Go ahead and click on this layer, press Command L so we don't mess around with that either. The next part is creating basically the widget. All we need to do is press R for the rectangle. I'm just going to bring out a rectangle like so. It doesn't particularly matter right now. We're going to get rid of the border, select the shape, and we're going to go ahead and curve the shape just here very easily. This will be the center of the widget. So this is like the backdrop of that widget. And then I'm going to go ahead and press Command C and Command V. That's going to copy another one of these shapes on top. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the color down to this gray and scale it up like so. The cool thing about XD and using it is that you can put images on top of shapes and you can mask them so you can have images exactly where you want them. So what I'm going to do is bring this up as sort of like a masthead, and I'm going to make sure that it's not circular because we don't want every corner to be round. You can see it looks a bit strange, so we need to go ahead and just round these top corners. So holding Option or Alt, just drag on one of these corners at the top here, and it will drag just that one corner, and we're trying to match these up here. All we need to do now is go ahead, go find an image. I'm going to choose this abstract painting one and just drop it on top. I'm going to add a shadow to the background of it a little bit. I might even just bring that down ever so slightly, the blur, and then the opacity we can bring down or up depending on your likeness. We've now got the basic component on here. I'm going to add a shadow to the background of this square as well, increase the density of this shadow and the opacity, and there we go. It looks like it's popping off the screen, which is what we kind of want. I'm going to take this top shape, press Command L so we don't mess around with that anymore, as well as the background shape here, because we're going to be working inside of this widget. Now if you look, this is what the widget looks like coming in from the phone. This could be a mobile widget, this could be a computer widget, I don't know, but what the idea of this widget is to have sort of a profile of someone, so you know where they've been, who they are, what they look like, what their interests are, just by a widget, and we can scroll through them. So we can scroll through different people and find their interests. Now we need a profile picture, so I'm going to go ahead and bring a rectangle again, and I'm going to hold shift to make sure it's a square. I'm going to bring these corners in ever so slightly so they're rounded. We don't really want hard corners for the profile picture. I'm going to bring in an image of myself and put it just in there. I'm going to get rid of the border, and we're going to have no shadow, or we could have a shadow, but we want it to be very light. So we've got the place for our picture. We need now the place for our text. Now we're using basically a grid system in here without grids. So if you don't know what a grid system is, I would highly recommend you go check out a previous video where I show you how grids work, and it really will help you understand where the composition should be in your work. So what I'm going to go do is, using these smart guides, I'm just going to go ahead and place some text in. So I'm going to go ahead to my text tool, press T. I'm going to write Will Patterson. Obviously that is huge, so we're going to scale that down. We're going to change the weight to semi-bold, see how that looks. Scroll in, scroll out. That's looking pretty good. Now we can move all these around later, but we want to get the information in there first. Normally you could draw this out, so you could basically do your wireframes drawn out, which I've done previously in different projects. But for this one, I kind of know because I've already shown you what I'm going to be doing. So I'm going to write down my job title, or what I do down here. Then I'm going to choose medium, bring it down ever so slightly, logo designer. Probably graphic design is better. I'm going to make sure the center aligned. So the two different weights, what I've done there is I've taken this semi-bold weight and a medium weight. So anything that's smaller, to add the contrast to the actual composition, I make it in a different weight. I'm going to start adding some different boxes down here. These are going to be the buttons that we could press if this is a real thing. We're not going to wireframe the whole experience. I'm going to show you how to create this widget and sort of interact with it. So what I'm going to do is create from this line here. You can see where the guide is here. I want to make sure the box is about here. I'll take out the border, and I'm going to make sure the fill is a bit gray. So we're going to make sure it's a bit darker than everything else, maybe a bit darker than that, I'll be honest. And we're going to round the corners out, not too much roundness, but just enough to be rounded. Now what we could do is we could go ahead and start adding even more of these in. So we can start alt dragging and duplicating all of this. But XD has got a lot of features and tools that allow you to replicate and repeat sort of grid parts of your work. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to go ahead to my plugins. Now the plugin you want is free to use, and it's a really good one. I would suggest everyone to go get it. It's called Icons for Design. And all we have to do is type in an icon. So I'm going to type in location, and it will come up with all of these different icons. I'm going to make sure that the size of the icons that I'm bringing out are all the same. So I'm going to bring out 12, which works well here. I'm going to go ahead and click it, and what will happen is it will just bring up the icon that I need. I can then go ahead and easily in my components list change the color to this sort of dark gray, so it's not too contrasting, but you can see it. Inside of here, I'm going to write London, UK. Obviously that's not the right size, so I'm going to go to my components here. I'm going to change it to regular 21 points, but obviously here, I'm going to move it down so it fits inside of this square here. I'm going to go ahead and change the weight of this to medium, because we don't want it to be too flimsy. And then we're going to change the color to gray also, so it fits in the same way. We could even change the color to be slightly darker in gray. And when we do that, we can add it to our color components up here at the top. Now up here, I've missed out one of the biggest things, which is like, so basic engagement to my sort of widget. And I want this to be sort of Instagram-esque, but also just tell you more about the person and their interests. So I'm going to go ahead and create a love icon, a heart icon. And what I want to do with this icon is make it so when I click it in the prototype, it will turn red when I click it. So what I'm going to do is go to my Icons for Design plugin. I'm going to type in heart, and a lot of hearts will pop up. I'm going to choose feather heart. So I'm going to click on this icon down here, so it will bring it next to it. Choose heart, and I'm going to bring that up here. And I'm going to make sure it fits within the grid box over here. Next to this, I'm going to just drag this up and say 100K. We're going to change the colors of all of these in our component lists to be this dark blue, because the dark blue is a pretty nice color. I'm going to change the heart to be red. So this is signifying that there's 100,000 likes on my profile. Now if I go and press play, you'll see that nothing is animating, nothing is really happening. Well, first off, we need to have more of the things down here. So we need more of these boxes with different information such as email, interest, single or married, sort of things like that. So what I'm going to do for now is show you how to use a component state to make it animate and be reactive and responsive. Something that brings prototypes to life is where you can actually mess around with it and it does something. So I want to give the feeling that you can actually like this sort of widget. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this heart. I'm going to go to the components and make it into a component. We're going to press plus again and press a new state. Now I'm going to call this clicked. So what we're doing is we're creating a state in the prototype of when it's not clicked and when it is clicked. So you can get that reaction between the heart being not liked and liked. In the clicked reaction, I want to go ahead and swap the fill and the border. So you can see now, if I press default state, it is the same heart, but instead of having a stroke, it's having a fill. I'm going to go to the prototype mode, click this, and we're going to press tap as the trigger. We want auto animate. We want to choose the state clicked. We want to go choose ease in and out. And I'm going to do this in probably 4 or 0.4 seconds. And then I'm going to press clicked. So we can choose a different component states. Click this heart. We're going to go to auto animate again. It should have all the same settings, but the state we want to bring back to the default state. So now we're going to go ahead and prototype this. You can see when I click it, it auto animates so you can react to this. It goes back from being loved and hated. Now we can add more information here and I'll let you add that information. But what I'm going to do now is go ahead and create maybe a couple more different things down here. So I'm going to bring this down like so, increase the size of this square here. And I want to show where they work. So Patterson Design Limited, which is the company that I personally work at. And with the icon, again, we just go back to the icons and I'm going to choose building. Select building, get rid of this arrow, and we're going to go ahead and press that to be the same color. Now, what if we wanted a lot more information in here? Well, I'm going to swap this down to be here. I'm going to swap this up to be just there. And you can see all the smart guides are picking everything for me exactly how I want it. So what I'm going to do is press Command R, and this will bring up this little green box around us. What this does, this allows us to repeat something over and over again in horizontal and vertical. So I'm going to go ahead and drag this out to be 2. We can interfere with the spacing so we can have padding in there. And what I'm going to do, in fact, is come out a bit, and I'm going to choose my guides to be just at the end of my name. So I know exactly where the padding should be, which is perfect there. We're going to drag this down here once more, interfere with this padding here. And what we can start to do is add different icons and different things to it. Once you're here, press Command Shift G, which will ungroup it, and we can start adding in different information. Single, food, burger, drawing, Netflix. So these are my interests, and I'm not actually, no. Why did I say single? I'm married. Now all I need to do is go ahead and change some of these icons. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to choose a sweetheart winky face here. We can choose many different icons, but they should all be the same size, which is what we want. For food, I'm going to choose this icon. I'm going to just do this. You can speed this part up, Jordan, if you like. Now that we have all the information in there, you can press Command and Enter to preview your prototype. Well, this is fun, but what we can do is a few other things in this. So what I want to do is go to this background here, unlock this background, press background blur again, and we can actually change the exposure of this. So we want to go ahead and create a huge blur, bring this to the right exposure. We can do this for the background as well. If the background isn't blurry enough, we can make it lighter or darker just to give that contrast. Remember, this is just a prototype. If you want to go to the next level of this, go ahead and ungroup everything inside of here. We want to go ahead and make sure that all of these parts here can be scrolled through as well if there's more information. We haven't got a lot of size in this widget, so we want to make sure everything has the same amount of repetition throughout so you can get as much information. Press Command R again, and we're going to go ahead and do a vertical scroll, like so. Increase the padding here. press Command-Shift-G, and we're going to do a vertical scroll. And we can choose where the scroll starts and when the scroll ends. So now when we go through here, we can scroll up and down. This means we get more information in the widget. From here then we can group everything, scale out a bit, Command or Control R, bring this out, ungroup it and create another horizontal scroll. So now when we preview it, you can see we can still scroll down, we can still press this heart button and we can scroll to the side. And we can see that there are more widgets. I just want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video. If you stayed to the end of this video, then good on you. This video has been like the introduction into creating widgets inside of Adobe XD. If you're an experienced designer and use Adobe Photoshop or Adobe XD or other apps, then it's really important to have your own website to show your work through a portfolio and to also get clients. I've been using Squarespace for years now to get clients, to show my work, to sell my products, and to have a blog. It's like my own little corner of the internet. And for thousands of templates that are fully customizable, it means that you can have a professional website set up within minutes that is still fully customizable. So if you'd like to have your own website and have it 10% off your first purchase with Squarespace today, click the link down below in the description. Guys, if you enjoyed this video and if you liked everything that you saw within this prototyping video, let me know. I would love to do more Adobe XD videos and some other Adobe apps in the future. If there's a topic you would like me to cover to do with prototyping or to do with experience and app widget UI design, let me know as well down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and I'll catch you in the next video. See you soon. Goodbye.